is $20.357 million, or roughly 11% of the Electric Works budgeted operating revenue from GWP to the city's general fund.
Then we don't need to put surplus in the resolution.
My recommendation is no.
And Mr. Elliott, my question to you is, do we have the surplus whereby we're getting the funds?
Yes, and this is the amount that we want to reduce down to 10%, am I correct?
That's correct, sir.
And lock it at 10%?
At 10% of operating revenue.
And this is from the surplus fund?
Yes,
It's
sir.
not the operating fund?
The first is Mike Mohill. Second, Harry Zavos.
Good evening, council members. My name is Mike Mohill. Council members, you, once again, choose to transfer money from the electric side of GWP to the general fund. You will, once again, be in violation of the city charter. Council members Freeman and Nigerian, you have cannibalized GWP. In 2000, GWP water and electric funds had $253 million, and in 2005, $153 million. Today, there is practically nothing in the surplus fund and the depreciation fund of GWP. Today, the two of you are seeking higher political offices. Glendale Water and Power, GWP, is in dire need of money. The Grayson Power Plant for years has been in need of a $250 million upgrade. Are you planning to float a bond for $350 million for our children and our grandchildren to pay? Will you, like previous councils, not bite the bullet and do the right thing? It is not what is right, it is who is right. Councilman Gharpetian, you and Councilman Paula Devine both campaigned against the annual transfer. Councilman Sinanian, in all due respect, you said last time this was going to be the last time for you to support the transfer. I hope the fix is not in. Should you vote for the transfer, electrical and water rates are sure to increase to pay for your mistakes. I remember the campaign slogan, the mailers that stated, promises made, promises kept. Council members, please keep your promise. Thank you.
I just want to say that I will be approving this item with the understanding that we have every expectation to abide by the court ruling in the litigation that we face, and we will cease this practice if so ruled. But right now I think it's necessary, and I will be approving this.
There's a dispute on the terminology of what the surplus account is. Like Grayson, we're going to talk about Grayson Power Plant today. And if we post a bond, how are we going to pay for it? And I know there's calculations that this power plant, by the savings that it's going to bring to the city, is going to pay for that bond. And that's what I'm looking for. But as far as the surplus, I want to have a solid answer. I know the courts would decide, hopefully sooner than later, so we all would know where to stand and how to function with or without this money. But we need to have a clear answer as to what the surplus is, because if I don't transfer these funds today, how are we going to function tomorrow?
Roll call, please.
Council members Devine,
Yes.
Friedman,
Yes.
Gharpetian,
Yes.
Sinanian,
Yes.
Chair Najarian.
Yes.
Good evening, council members. Name is Mike Mohill. The public wants GWP. They want the Grayson plant. They want it to run efficiently in the technology, and they want it to be maintained. Every year I hear about the Grayson power plant. It needs help, and I hear council people say, no, it doesn't need any help. I remember Councilman Quintero saying, no big deal, everything is running fine, and then he went ahead and transferred about $20 million out of GWP to the general fund. The Grayson power plant, the technology is mainly used for politics. It's a cash cow. We have council people running for candidates to be city council people Ms. Devine, she said, I keep my promise. I'm against the transfer. And then tonight you went ahead and voted for the transfer. Mr. Vartan, you said the same thing. Promises made, promises not kept. And Mr. Signania also. It's the politics of GWP that is disturbing me and others in the viewing audience. We trust you when you run for an office that you're going to maintain GWP and not take the money out and use GWP as a cash cow to pay for the salaries and pensions of our union workforce. 80% of the general fund is for salaries and pensions. And where are we going to get that money? From GWP. So all the power plants are hurting, so we're going to have to float bonds because you keep taking money out of the utility company. Question is, well, if we don't do that, Mr. Mohill, where are we going to get the money? Well, you know, that's a thing called cutting expenses. Perhaps we're paying our employees too much money. Perhaps we're giving Christmas bonuses when they don't deserve it. Who works this out for me? I don't think anybody here, when tonight you went ahead and approved the transfer of $20 million. Is that what I hired you for? Promises made, promises not kept, Ms. Devine. I remember when you first ran for council, you were for the transfer. Then later on, you changed your mind. You said you were against the transfer. Don't you recall? I was sitting right next to you, Ms. Devine. As the Indian would say, you're speaking through where? Both sides of your cheek. And tonight, you proved to me and the public.
Don't get racist on us, Mr. Moore.
Beg pardon?
Please don't use any racial
I didn't.
generalizations.
Jesus, that's a racial comment. Please, let's not be oversensitive, Mr. Nigerian. I know what racism is. Thank you. So I want to keep your word, your feet to the fire. Thank you.